On Christmas Eve, Interpol officer C.K. Lung loses everything. His family massacred. His daughter stolen by the assassin Madame Rose. Raised as her protege, that little girl becomes Phoenix, the deadliest weapon in Rose's arsenal. 15 years later, fate collides when Phoenix is sent on a mission that puts her face to face with the father she never knew. Torn between loyalty to the woman who raised her and the blood bond she can't deny, Phoenix must choose. Obey her master, or uncover the truth that will shatter her world. This is Naked Soldier, a story of betrayal, blood, and the fight to reclaim a stolen life. If you're already on edge, trust me, it only gets wilder from here. Smash that sub button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments, family or loyalty, which would you choose? Let's get into it. The story opens on Christmas Eve. C.K. Lung is celebrating with his family and in-laws, enjoying dinner together. The atmosphere is warm and joyful, with Lung and his wife making sure the table is filled with food. Upstairs, their young daughter, who has a slight fever, is resting. The sound of laughter from the living room wakes her. Lung goes to tuck her back into bed. On his way back, he notices movement outside and catches a glimpse of armed men approaching. A group of assassins storms into the house, firing wildly as they enter. Everyone in the room is killed instantly. The attackers are led by a notorious assassin known as Madame Rose. The noise wakes Lung's daughter again. She comes downstairs and suddenly finds herself face to face with the killers. One of them raises his gun to shoot, but Madame Rose stops him. She decides to spare the girl, declaring that she wants to raise and train her instead. Meanwhile, Lung slips into the power room. He cuts the electricity, plunging the house into darkness. Taking advantage of the confusion, he ambushes the assassins. He fights desperately to protect his daughter despite being fatally wounded. But in the chaos, Madame Rose seizes the girl and escapes, leaving Lung for dead. Lung is rushed to the ICU as doctors fight to save his life. Elsewhere, Madame Rose erases the child's memory, replacing it with false information. She tells her that her name is Phoenix and that she is her mother. The girl resists at first, but under heavier conditioning, her will breaks. With her memories gone, she begins her training as an assassin. 15 years later, Lung has returned to the force. Smarter, faster, and with sharper instincts. He is currently working on assassination cases perpetrated by Madame Rose. By his side are Sam Wong, a rising Interpol agent, and his partner Pete. Lung vows that this time he will bring Madame Rose down for good. He urges Sam to reopen the case of his missing daughter, insisting that he has a feeling she is still alive. Sam agrees. Phoenix has now grown into a young woman and is studying at a university in Taipei. While in the library, she receives a message from Madame Rose about a mission later that night. Madame Rose has secured a contract to eliminate several crime leaders and assigns the task to her three top assassins, Phoenix, Selena, and Ivy. That night, the trio gather for their instructions and then set out on their missions. Ivy arrives disguised as a call girl. Her client, unaware of the trap, waits eagerly for her. She joins him in the pool, and as he becomes distracted by desire, she retrieves a hidden blade from the drain. He senses the danger just in time and pushes her off before the blade strikes. A fierce struggle follows, but Ivy regains the upper hand and kills him with precision. On her way out, she faces his bodyguards. She uses tear gas to disorient them, making it easy to eliminate them one by one. Elsewhere, Selena approaches her target and lures him into a duel. They engage in an intense fight, and she dispatches him with equal precision. Meanwhile, Phoenix tracks her target, a triad boss harassing the widow of his former rival and her two children. She swiftly takes down his thugs before killing the boss himself. During the fight, her scarf slips, revealing her face. The widow, terrified, begs her to spare her children and kill her instead. But when she turns, Phoenix has already vanished. After the mission, Phoenix returns to Taipei. That night, she suffers from a recurring nightmare. Years earlier during their training, her fellow assassin Selena manipulated her into killing one of their instructors, a young man Phoenix had been close to. Selena had feelings for him, but he did not return them, and jealousy drove her to orchestrate his death. Selena has always envied Phoenix and tried to take whatever she values, leaving lasting tension between them. The next day, Phoenix heads to school. On the way, she runs into one of her professors, who happens to be with Sam. Sam is an alumnus of the school, and the professor proudly introduces him as one of his best students. Phoenix mentions the recent cases solved by Interpol and commends their work. Her poise and courtesy leave a strong impression on Sam, who hands her his card. Shortly after Phoenix leaves, Sam receives a call from Lung. Lung updates him on the murders recently carried out by Madame Rose's assassins. Meanwhile, Lung heads home and comes across his adoptive daughter, Wai Chu, playing rough with the neighborhood boys. At home, he scolds her for putting herself at risk and asks for her school results. As expected, she has performed poorly, and he expresses disappointment. Wai Chu may be mischievous, but she is lively and cheerful. After losing his family, Lung adopted her for companionship, and she fills that role well. Phoenix and the others gather with Madame Rose. She praises them for completing their assignments and promises to pay their commissions. But she sternly rebukes Phoenix for sparing the woman and children she encountered during her mission. Being merciful is dangerous and could endanger them all. The warning is clear, but they do not yet realize that the real danger wasn't mercy. It was a small detail Phoenix never noticed. Phoenix returns to her hostel and is startled to find Black Dragon, one of Madame Rose's male assassins, waiting in her room. Phoenix and Black Dragon are close, and Madame Rose has assigned him to protect her if necessary. Phoenix insists she can take care of herself, but he lingers until finally leaving just as her roommate returns. Phoenix knows this part of her life must remain hidden at all costs. The following day, Phoenix meets with Sam. He explains that he is working on the case of the murdered Triad boss, who was killed by a female assassin, and that he will be staying in Taipei for a while. The news unsettles Phoenix, though she hides her reaction. They talk for a while, and before leaving, Sam gives her books on criminology, having sensed her interest in the subject. Phoenix thanks him and promises to treat him to a meal sometime. Unbeknownst to her, danger is already closing in. During her last mission, Phoenix had unknowingly dropped the scarf she used to conceal her face. The scarf was stained with her blood, though she never realized it. Interpol recovered it, and a DNA test was conducted. When Pete hands the results to Lung, he is stunned to discover the DNA matches that of his missing daughter. Without hesitation, Lung books a flight to Taipei to join Sam in the investigation. Lung arrives in Taipei and joins Sam at the home of the woman Phoenix spared during her mission. She is still devastated by her husband's death and clings to her young son, who is running a fever. The scene reminds Lung of the night his own daughter was taken. She too had been sick when Madame Rose abducted her. Lung recalls the events that brought him here. 15 years earlier, he had crippled an international drug trafficking operation. Madame Rose's syndicate had secured a major deal to smuggle narcotics into China, but Lung exposed the shipment and seized the drugs. The breakthrough earned him commendations and international recognition, but the victory came at a cost. A month later, while visiting his in-laws in the United States, Madame Rose retaliated. She led her assassins to his family home, killing everyone and kidnapping his daughter. The years that followed nearly destroyed him. He survived, but only barely, holding on to faith that his daughter was still alive. Now, after all these years, he has learned the truth. The assassin she encountered days earlier is his missing child. He tells the grieving woman he understands her gratitude toward the assassin who spared her, but explains that for him, it means a chance to see his daughter again. He pleads with her to help, asking for a sketch that might aid in finding her. Back at headquarters, the team begins working the case. Sam obsesses over the sketch. Watching how dazed he appears, Pete jokes to Lung that Sam may end up becoming his son-in-law. Elsewhere, Ivy runs into danger of her own. While shopping for clothes, she is ambushed by the men of Pao Li, brother of the Triad boss Phoenix had killed. Ivy fights back fiercely, using every skill and tactic she knows, but she is outnumbered. The men are highly trained, and despite her resistance, she is overwhelmed and killed. Meanwhile, Madame Rose learns that Lung is still alive and back on their trail. Determined to finish what she started, she assigns Phoenix to eliminate him. Lung, having grown concerned about Wai Chu's poor performance at school, arranges for a private tutor. When he returns home, Wai Chu excitedly announces that the teacher has arrived, which turns out to be Phoenix. Under Madame Rose's orders, she has infiltrated Lung's home disguised as a tutor to get close enough to kill him. Wei Chu, carefree and cheerful, quickly warms to her. She jokes about her father's love for food, despite his weight, and proudly mentions his unmatched kung fu skills, which she has learned from him. Lung invites Phoenix to stay for dinner. She declines at first, but Wai Chu persuades her to stay. While serving the meal, Phoenix notices the distinctive necklace Lung is wearing. It feels strangely familiar. Their eyes meet, and both sense something they cannot explain. At that moment, Lung notices the drawer where he usually keeps his gun slightly open. He is certain he had closed it earlier. Suspicion grows. He begins to wonder if Phoenix could be his daughter, but he fears the truth. If she is here to kill him, he may never have the chance to know. Meanwhile, Phoenix discreetly prepares to shoot Lung, all while pretending to listen to Wai Chu chatter. To break the tension, Lung asks if he can turn on the television. Phoenix agrees. He plays an old videotape of himself and his daughter when she was little. As Phoenix watches, flashes of distorted memories flood her mind. She recalls fragments of her dreams and realizes she has seen Lung before. She asks who he is and why she dreams of him every night. Lung tells her he is her father. Immediately, Phoenix grabs Wai Chu, points a gun at her, and warns Lung not to come closer. Using Wai Chu as a shield, she escapes the house. Lung gives chase. Phoenix tries to stop him, but he continues after her. Suddenly, Black Dragon appears and blocks his path. He fights Lung off and warns him not to follow, or he will be killed. The next day at the office, Pete delivers a confirmation. The sketch matches Phoenix. Lung now understands everything. He also realizes why Sam had been dazed. He had met Phoenix earlier but kept it to himself. Furious, Lung confronts him. Sam apologizes, admitting he was confused and unsure. Later, Black Dragon meets Phoenix at the school library. He warns her that returning was a mistake. Madame Rose's rule is absolute. If an assassin's identity is exposed, they are eliminated. And when Rose marks a target, she never fails. As he speaks, chaos erupts. It suddenly seems the whole library has been bought by Madame Rose. Even Phoenix's classmate, who had been hitting on her, and her roommate turn against her. A brutal fight breaks out. Black Dragon shields Phoenix but suffers severe injuries. As they try to escape, he urges her to leave him behind, but she refuses. Carrying him with her, they escape the library. As they head for the stairs, they realize they are surrounded on all sides. They jump from the building and Black Dragon twists his body mid-fall, absorbing the impact as they crash onto a car below. He doesn't survive. Phoenix shakes him desperately, tears streaming down her face, but there is nothing she can do. With the mob still in pursuit, she is forced to keep running. After reaching a safe distance, Phoenix takes out a knife and cuts into the base of her neck. She removes a microchip hidden under her skin, the device Madame Rose uses to track her assassins. At the same time, Lung and his team realize Madame Rose will stop at nothing to find Phoenix. They come up with a plan. They implant Phoenix's microchip into him to lure Rose to them. Right after the procedure, Lung receives a call that Wai Chu is in trouble. He rushes home immediately. But when he arrives, he realizes it is a setup. Selena and another female assassin ambush him. A brutal fight breaks out inside the house. Despite being outnumbered, Lung uses his skill and precision to hold his ground. He fends off both assassins and gains the upper hand. Just when it seems he has overpowered them, Madame Rose steps in, pointing a gun at him. She captures both Lung and Wai Chu and locks them inside her cell. Her plan is simple. She believes Phoenix will come for them, and when she does, Rose will finally trap her. Meanwhile, Sam finishes work and heads toward his car. As soon as he gets inside, Phoenix appears, pointing a gun at him. She demands to know if Lung is truly her father. Sam confirms it. He tells her to cooperate with Interpol to testify against Rose and to fight back properly. He adds that doing so will lessen the charges for her crimes. Phoenix asks why he cares so much. Sam admits it is because he loves her, but his confession is not enough to sway her. Later, Sam gathers a rescue team to raid Rose's stronghold. Meanwhile, chaos has already begun. Selena has betrayed Rose, selling her out to Pao Li, the brother of the Triad boss Phoenix killed. A violent clash erupts. Rose's last remaining loyal assassin fights with everything in her to protect her, but the attackers overwhelm her. In the end, she is killed, leaving Rose more vulnerable than ever. Selena joins Pao Li's men out of spite and delivers the final blow to Madame Rose herself. Phoenix arrives at the compound moments later. She ignores the chaos outside and slips quietly into the building. Moving with precision, she eliminates the guards posted at the cell and frees her father and Wai Chu. Phoenix calls him daddy, and they embrace each other. Lung is overwhelmed with emotion as he holds his long-lost daughter in his arms. The police finally arrive, forcing Pao Li and his men to retreat. But as they make their way out, Phoenix blocks their path. Selena exposes her, telling Pao Li that Phoenix was the one who killed his brother. Lung and Wai Chu quickly join her, and together they brace for battle. The fight erupts into chaos. Pao Li's men charge in numbers, while Phoenix, Lung, and Wai Chu cut them down one after another. When all his men fall, Pao Li orders Selena into the fight. Phoenix steps forward to face her. Both women had waited for this day. Around them, the compound turns into a war zone. Even the police clash with Madame Rose's guards in a frenzy of gunfire. After the grueling duel, Pao Li slays his own last man and steps forward to challenge Lung and Wai Chu himself. After a brutal exchange, they defeat him together. Meanwhile, Phoenix and Selena's duel rages on. They fight relentlessly, trading strikes with equal ferocity. Selena gains the upper hand and unleashes her bitterness. She tells Phoenix she always had the best of everything, that even Black Dragon, whom Selena loved, never looked her way and even died for Phoenix. Phoenix replies that she only ever saw him as a brother. Their battle reaches its peak when Phoenix throws Selena off balance. Selena ends up dangling from a ledge, weapons scattered beneath her. Phoenix hesitates, torn over whether to let her fall. At that moment, Sam and his team arrive. He urges Phoenix not to let go, but Selena makes her own choice. She pulls out a knife, cuts the rope, and plunges to her death, unwilling to spend her life in prison. In the aftermath, order is restored. Sam approaches Phoenix and proposes to her. She accepts. He promises to stand by her, to lighten her sentence, and no matter how long it takes, to wait for her. And that's the chaos wrapped up. Assassins, betrayal, and family drama that hits harder than a bullet. If you made it this far, you're officially part of the squad. So smash that sub button, roast me in the comments, and don't ghost me like Rose did. More madness coming next drop.